They don't deserve your tears anymore. But somehow, the tears still come anyway. You sit with the strange ache you can't name, and it confuses you deeply. You finally got free from them, and now you're grieving the freedom itself. This isn't regret. This isn't weakness returning. This is something far stranger than that. You're mourning people who hurt you, and you can't understand why your chest aches. The mind says good riddance, but the body still remembers every shared moment quietly. You outgrew them, and nobody warned you that outgrowing feels exactly like losing. There's a specific loneliness that comes after escape. Nobody talks about this part honestly. You expected relief, freedom, lightness. Instead, you got this hollow, confusing, low-grade sorrow inside. By the end of this, you'll understand the grief and stop fearing it completely. You'll see why this ache is proof of your growth, not proof of weakness. Picture this moment. You're driving somewhere ordinary. A song plays and suddenly you're crying. Not for them exactly, for who you were when you still believed in them. That younger version of you trusted them completely, and you're grieving her loss now. She was naive, hopeful, eager to please. She didn't yet know what they were. You're not crying because you missed them. You're crying because she's gone forever. This is the grief nobody prepared you for. The grief of your own becoming. Outgrowing toxic people is not clean. It's not victorious. It's not even peaceful sometimes. It's a slow funeral for a version of yourself who needed to die quietly. She died so you could finally live, but she still deserves to be mourned. Here's what makes this grief so strange and disorienting compared to ordinary loss. You're not grieving who they were. You're grieving who you thought they were. The person you loved never actually existed. They were a costume worn over harm. But that imaginary person felt real to you, and now you're burying a ghost. You can't even tell anyone you're sad. They'd say, "Good, you're better off." So you grieve in silence, alone, ashamed of feelings you didn't choose to have. That shame is the trap. The shame keeps you stuck longer than the grief. Let the grief move. Stop judging it. Stop asking it to make logical sense. There are layers to this strange mourning, and each one catches you by surprise. First layer is the relief. You finally exhaled after years of holding your breath. Second layer is the rage. You realize how much you tolerated and you burn quietly. Third layer is the sadness. The clean, deep sadness of wasted years and wasted love. Fourth layer is the strangest one. You miss them, and you hate that you do. This fourth layer is where most people break and reach back out unnecessarily. Don't. Missing someone is not the same as needing them back in your life. You can miss a person, and still know returning would cost you everything again. The body bonds to people through repetition, even painful repetition. That's not love returning. That's your nervous system asking for the familiar, even when the familiar was poison. Recognize it, name it, then let it pass through you like weather, not instruction. There's a quieter layer underneath all of this that almost nobody talks about openly. You're grieving the future you imagined with them, the version that never had a chance. You pictured holidays, milestones, a softer ending. None of that was ever coming, truly. That imagined future also has to die, and its funeral happens inside your chest. Let it die. Stop resurrecting it in daydreams. Stop rehearsing the conversation you'll never have. The closure you want from them was never available. It has to come from you. Healthy people can grieve and still keep walking forward. Toxic bonds drag you backward instead. The difference is whether the grief teaches you something or just hooks you back in. If your grief whispers go back, that's the bond talking, not your healing speaking. If your grief whispers, "I survived something real," that's the healing finally arriving home. Listen to which voice you're hearing. The two sound similar, but lead opposite directions. You'll know which is which by what each one asks you to do next. One asks you to reopen the door. The other asks you to honor the door closing. Honor the closing, even when it aches, especially when it aches more than expected. Let me pause here for a moment because this part touches something tender in people. I want to ask you something honestly, and I want you to think about it. Who are you grieving right now that you know you cannot go back to? Share it in the comments if you can. Just a few words is enough. Someone reading will recognize themselves in your story and feel less alone tonight. That kind of quiet solidarity matters more than people realize. Your words become someone's lifeline. Now let's go deeper because there's something underneath the grief most people never reach. Underneath the grief is a strange kind of gratitude. and it surprises everyone who finds it. Not gratitude for the harm. Never that. Gratitude for what the harm taught you instead. You learned how to read people. You learned what love is not. You learned yourself. You can spot manipulation now in a sentence. You couldn't do that before they came. You hear a tone shift and your body knows. That radar was built through fire. They didn't give you that gift on purpose. You forged it from what they broke. That's not them being secretly good for you. That's you being unstoppable despite them. There's a difference, and it matters. They don't get credit for what you built alone. The grief softens when you stop framing the relationship as wasted and start seeing it differently. It wasn't wasted, it was tuition. Brutal, expensive tuition for a degree in human nature. You graduated. Walk like someone who graduated. They're still teaching the same lesson to others. You don't have to take that class twice. You already know the whole syllabus now. Here's something nobody tells you about outgrowing people, and it changes everything when you hear it. You don't actually outgrow them in one moment. You outgrow them in 1,000 small ones. Every time you don't text back, every time you don't explain, every time you stay seated, every time their name appears and you feel less than you did the time before. That's the outgrowing. Quiet, repetitive, unglamorous. Nobody applauds because nobody can see it happening. But you feel it, the slow loosening of a grip you didn't know was still there. One day their voice in your head goes quiet, and you don't even notice the silence. That's the day you realize you've actually been free for weeks already, maybe months. The grief comes back in waves after that, but the waves get smaller each time. You stop drowning, you start surfing. Eventually the ocean is just background, not your whole life. A boundary isn't only what you say, sometimes it's just the slow walking away itself. Distance can be louder than any sentence you'll ever speak in their direction again. You don't owe them a final speech. You don't owe them a clean explanation either. The walking is the speech, the silence is the explanation. They will understand or they won't. Either way, that's no longer your problem to manage. That belongs to them now, entirely. Not every painful person is evil, and this nuance matters as you grieve them properly. Some were wounded people who handed you their wound and called it love or family. You can hold compassion for who they were and still refuse to let them near you. Understanding someone is not the same as inviting them back. Keep these two separate, always. You can wish them healing from across an unbridgeable distance. That's mature love, not weakness. That kind of love costs nothing and protects everything. Practice it when the grief gets loud. Here's the part that took me longest to understand, and it may take you time too. The strange grief never fully disappears, and you stop wanting it to disappear eventually. It becomes a quiet companion, a reminder of what you survived and who you've since become. You touch it like a scar on your hand, and you feel grateful for the texture. Grateful you can still feel. Grateful you didn't go numb. Grateful the wound finally closed clean. This is recovery, not the absence of pain, the presence of meaning where pain used to live. You will catch yourself laughing one day and realize you haven't thought about them in weeks. That moment is sacred. Don't ruin it by checking whether they've thought about you instead. Their thoughts are no longer your weather. You have your own sky now to look at. So here's what their absence really means, and I want you to sit with this carefully. Their absence is not your loss. Their absence is the price of your becoming yourself fully. You didn't lose them. You traded them for peace, for clarity, for the woman you are. That trade was the best deal you ever made. The grief is just the receipt. Tonight, try this one small thing. Light something or play a song and acknowledge her. The younger you who loved them honestly. Tell her thank you. Tell her she can rest. She did her best with what she knew. She doesn't have to carry it anymore now. You're carrying it differently now, with wisdom instead of hope, with distance instead of pleading. If this gave you language for something you've been feeling quietly, leave a small light behind. It helps this reach someone else tonight who's crying in their car and feeling crazy. Subscribe to The Boundary Effect and turn on the bell while you're here with me. Every week we decode the quiet patterns most people don't name for years and years. In the comments, tell me which line in this script landed hardest in your chest. I read them. Other people read them. Your sentence might be someone else's permission slip. Next week, we go deeper into why the people who hurt you sometimes return suddenly, what they actually want when they reappear, and the exact words that send them away. You'll want to be there for that one. It answers questions this script only opened. For now, hold this truth close to you as you move through the rest of tonight. The grief of outgrowing them is not a sign you should have stayed where you were. It's the sound your soul makes while it finally takes up the space they once occupied.